And so we are live. Layouts. Live and not my layouts. What's new game? Why if it isn't Kai? Hi. Welcome. Were you beat from the workout the other day? Hi there, Minnie. Oh, let me fix my pins. Pin one. Where's my camera? Oh, there we are. And then there's pin three. There's the Vesper cam. Whenever she's closed eyes like that, it means she's like out tabbed and doing moderation work.
Yeah, it just happens.
So anyway,
Gotcha.
where were we? Yes, lovely to have her. Whew. Let's go read chat. So who do we have here? We have Fluffy SB Far, Wallow. Hello, Wallow. Thanks again for the subs last stream. And of course, we have Amiga Yala, Amy, Chinese Dragon, and Minnie. Okay, Beeps, Stars Wolf. Wait, this ain't the best angle. There we go. Better. Okay. So, it was fun, but yes, it killed me. Yesterday, Sunday, me and a bunch of friends decided to do a little well, it was essentially VR exercise together. And a little bit of cardio, a little bit of stretching and yoga, body resistance exercises. And it was fun. To say the least, it was fun. But I'm sure a lot of us aren't in tip top shape. And so the recovery isn't quite as quick as one would expect. But that is the pain of progress, though. And next weekend, we're gonna have the same thing happening. I don't know if it's a Saturday, I don't know if it's gonna be on a Sunday, but most definitely it's going to be a weekly thing. Feel free to join. And don't feel bad if you miss out. It seems Doran is rather enthusiastic about joining. Fantastic. Guess we'll see you then. Best were always an eye on us. We can never hide. That is true. The all seeing moderator. Don't let that smile deceive you, chat. She's gonna ban you without warning. But yes. Now, where were we? How am I doing? Well, aside from the body aches, I'm okay. You see, working out in VR is a little different compared to IRL. You have to work within the constraints of your hardware. Make sure your headset doesn't fall off, you don't crush your controllers and everything. You have to sometimes switch your trackers around from your belly to your back, depending on the exercises you're doing.
You're using
But
slimes.
it was
It's the
fun.
constant reset.
Yeah, if you're using slimes, it's a constant reset because your body will always like lose calibration. So yeah, oops, I get the nose floating. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. You see, I started the thing because not everybody here has the motivation to go to a public gym, right? Or like if you're working out alone, you don't have like that drive. But here you can have workout buddies from all over the world and in the form that you best want as well. Ain't it cool seeing a bunch of these just doing funny little exercises? My room is too small for workout. Oh, trust me, I've managed with a coffin-sized play space. You can just do the standing one. Doran says I have to work out a lot more, and this is giving me motivation to do it. So yes, I'm excited. Great. I've been trying to get back into shape, says K the Fourth, so I might have to join. Yeah, sure. I thankfully have my work later in the day, so no distractions. I wish I could have joined, but work was when you all did it. Um, let's see down the line if we can organize different schedules for different people. Like, there's a morning sched and there's an evening sched. I'll be in one of those schedules. My signal isn't great right now, says Blue. But I hope you're going well. Alright, well, you just save your bandwidth and whatnot, Blue. Huh. I don't have access to a gym at all, sadly, says Doran. So this with friends would be ideal. What? Hi there, Kage. Nice to see you. So hello, Foxy. Hello, Equinox. Nice background. Oh yes, we're in a different place today. We got our friend the moon over yonder. For your character design, do you have different outfits or just the one? Oh, I have different outfits. I can take off my coat. I can put on my other coat. See, this coatless. Not sure if it suits the planes, but you now have a better idea how what's underneath. Vesper too has a multitude of outfits, but whenever she's presenting on stream, she wants a little bit more formality.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Unless it's like a stream where things don't have to be as formal. I'm wearing this.
that's true. So yeah. It's always nice to work out with friends as well, though. Especially people you feel comfortable being uncomfortable with for a few. People how do we say this? People you feel comfortable being uncomfortable with. That's a good saying. The beach is the best place to chill. When at night, specifically. Agree. Nice and cold. You can hear the waves. Unfortunately, there is music in this world, and it kind of clashes with the theme. I can't turn that off. So I'm going to do the next best thing. I'm gonna open my browser. I'm gonna go to YouTube. We're going to look for there, very subtle. But it's there. Littern says I'd love to join the workouts, but I don't have a VR headset. Then it looks like you have a goal that you will work towards. It's nice here. See you around, studio. They increase the aperture a bit. There. I think a lot of us became sedentary when the pandemic hit. A couple of years ago, I know. But there are many opportunities that present itself in order for us to catch up on being in shape. I mean, you don't even need to be with friends technically. You can just work out at home. But being in good company is always welcome. Yes, Chat Vesper is also there during the exercises during the weekend.
Yep.
Oh, hi, Axel. Sure, no problem. Don't get into trouble now. Wacky says, unfortunately, ads stopped me hearing your reply. I'll rewind later on. How's your day been, anyways? Pretty alright. Body is deciding to catch up on sleep, and let's just say my naps have been turning into full fledged sleep cycles instead. I'm just waiting for class at 1. Alright, actually, good luck with your classes. Beeb says, I just like to hike every once in a while. That's enough exercise for me. Fair, fair. Hiking is always good. Oh, wait, painting. I see what. Gotcha. Oh, you okay?
Salty air.
I'm good.
Right. Salty air. You know what's funny? I was looking through my Discord, and Litz was. Litz was getting anxious. When is Gabe going to go live? Here I am, Litz. Axel says it just sounds like you need sleep, Gabe. Sleep without an alarm is nice in my opinion because that's my body sleeps as long as it needs to. And that has been what is happening, Axel. I just sleep. I was playing with Beth the other day, and I was just supposed to rest my eyes for 15-30 minute stops. I disappeared for a few hours. Sorry, Beth. I did not mean
I had to disconnect from the call.
to. She had to disconnect me from the VC. The 7 hour nap in question. Ah, yes, of course. Now I'm aiming at Demon King. Oh no. Shall I make him sprout hair on his head?
Ah, yes, I curse you with a full head of hair.
Very soon. Full head of hair. It's hard because getting the momentum to work out is difficult in the beginning, but it gets easier. That's true. It gets easier over time. Over time. It's nice here, refreshing. I wish you could see the site in person. Those of you with a VR headset, you really need to head to this world. The name of this world is. What's it called? Voyage of Imagination. How's Starkov going for you again? The first time me and Beth put our boots on the ground, within the span of less than 5 minutes, we both blew up to landmines. We didn't know where to go. I didn't know there was no compass, there was no map. The second time we spawned in, well, he got shot, and the third time was, and I got shot too. The third time was we were at the laboratories. No, it was somewhere else. It was outdoors. I forgot the name. The customs. Oh, I think we ran into a pack of bosses. They were not dying despite having several shots to the center of mass. We were pinned in a small guard tower, peppered by bullet wounds, trying to patch ourselves up the best we could towards an adversary we could barely see. They were by the tree line, you see. Very hard to spot, let alone defend ourselves against. There. It was fun though. Really fun. But yeah, so that was the Tarkov experience. Hardcore shooter it was indeed. And you're having fun. I'll probably pick it up again in a few days. I think I'm gonna. Oop. And there goes Vesper. What can I say? Yeah. Thank you again for the key, Fluffy. I'll play again sometime. I was thinking Arma was hardcore. But this Arma, we had directional indicators and a map we could access anytime. Hello, Traxor. Good evening. Good luck with yours, Vess. I'll still be here. Don't worry about it. Whoa. Wow, whoa. I forgot I don't have my backrest. Hello, Mitzi. Tarkov makes Arma look like a casual shooter. That's true. That's very much true. Inspecting magazines to find out how much it. You know, if you're into that sort of thing, yes. Why, if it isn't Beth, hi there. I was just telling them about how our little first day went. Oh, we're cinema. Wait, hold on. I completely forgot about this thing. That will disappear. By the way, there's a goal, right? Once that's failed, thing, that will disappear. So you have like a clean cinematic experience. Hello, Zizzo. Zizzo. Too much cardio today, in my personal opinion. Too much? There's never too much cardio. Not especially for a young man like you. There were no signs on one of the. We did not see any signs at all. Oh, the lighthouse was the second place that I went to.
Almost touching it will almost do. There's a part of me
Up, up.
that's always true. All the things that you promised with your eyes, I see yours too. Now eyes are
Sorry if I'm very silent today. No, no worries about just lurking. Most of my viewers are just silent observers anyway, and there's completely nothing wrong with them. That's okay. Go relax, do your thing. I'm just here. I'm your interactive background noise. I'm gonna listen to music in particular today because I am curious. What's this?
I fall in love to my funny Valentine,
Oh wow.
sweet comic Valentine. You make me smile with my
Geb, what do you think of the dragons and the hive lords of Osho? Okay, hold on. Yeah, I think that's better without the ocean sounds. It's starting to get to me. Hive lords are I wouldn't even say challenging. they're they're fun. They give you a good sense of panic. Imagine if there were two Hive Lords. Or, there was one thing I was expecting from the Hive Lords is that they're gonna jump, or from underneath, they're going to engulf you, and then you get to see the inside. Your health is gonna drain constantly. You're gonna try and like shoot your way out of the body cavity, but guess that's an opportunity for an
Are
update.
you smart?
That would be fun. Imagine you and your squad just being engulfed by the Hive Lord, and you have like 10 seconds to shoot your way out. Or like, you get engulfed on purpose, and then you have the portable hell bomb on your back, and bam, instantly the Hive Lord's disposed of.
Stay, little Valentine.
Hello, Lance.
Stay.
Nice to see you.
Each day is
When you entered Jormungandr. Yes. I was watching God of War, Ragnarok's endings and whatnot, and it reminded me of what's his name? Ymir's multiple weapons from different places and pantheons. And I remember being really excited when I saw him pull out. Also, what the heck is this? Oh. I got really excited at seeing him like brandish the katana, and then like the musical cue for the Japanese played. I was like, oh my goodness, is that where Kratos is going to go next? Oh, hello, Eidolon. Thank you for the one bitty. Clearly, it shall go to a fantastic cause. The Hive Lord should have just been a dedicated mission type. Yeah. Stay around, Slytherin. No, Kratos with the katana. I don't know about that. It's a weapon that requires way too much finesse for somebody of his character. I haven't played the games as Blue if it's seriously getting God of War Japan, that'd be cool. Because there's so many unexplored pantheons. There's the Aztecs, there's the Egyptians. We have, oh, don't even get me started on the Indians and like the Chinese. Those gods are crazy powerful. Nice to see you by the seaside. Hello, Waffle Car. That's just me. Even on the stool there. Water. That's a beautiful and moody world. Yeah, clearly. Need to bring you here, Lit. All sorts of tropes and whatnot gonna play again. Huh. I already see the vision. The scene playing out in your hand. Hi, Axiom. Been a while, how are you? Hope everything is okay. Like there's something wrong. Like cold. Hold on. Like no, everything's correct. In a gaming mood recently. Well, I'm glad you have the motivation to go play games. Not all of us do.
The moon was all aglow, and heaven was in your eyes. The night that you told me those little white lies.
I
The
can't.
stars all seem to know.
It says it's summer vacation and you're on a trip with your friends, including your crush. So a lot of activities, but you catch her flirting with somebody else. Oh,
Those little white
oh.
lies. I try, but there's no forgetting.
Yeah, there's two things that can go.
Evening appears
It's either you're distraught,
sigh, but there's no regretting.
or you find a way to remove the obstacle that presents itself between you
The devil
and the
was
target.
in your heart, but heaven was in your eyes.
Yeah, could we get song requests? Absolutely not.
That you told me those little white lies.
I will randomly peruse through my scattered Spotify.
I try.
You know, most of the stream, I'm simply actually listening to music while vibing with you all. Chat's music taste can't be that bad. You see, there's the thing. If I allow music requests, it means I have to allow everyone's requests to be fair, right? And what if the music doesn't fit the theme, the mood? I mean, sure, I play meme music every now and then, but usually that's towards the end of the stream.
Those little white
A sad and thoughtful
tiny
walk on the
little
beach.
white
Ah, yes. You see, Axiom's request is Poker Face by Lady Gaga. That is clearly not befitting of the scene we're at. Like that, for example, see. Hold on, let's stick with my old one. There we go. Ah, fine, Blue. What did you have in mind? I am 31 minutes in the stream. I'm not even close to ending it, and you're already asking me for the funny music. Yeah. I was looking through my throne yesterday, and then I noticed somebody bumped up my little oud cap gloves goal. Whoever you are, thank you so much. You've already took 30% of it. I'm considering. Oh, but that's gonna cut into my monthly budget. I'm considering ordering it now so it arrives sooner or before the batches run out. That's my problem because. The whole early bird thing. But they recently came out with the version 2 of the gloves, which pretty much answers the durability issues that the V1 has. I'm not saying it's unbreakable, but I sure am hoping it lasts much longer than the reported 100 hours of usage. Here are sounds from the waveslets. 32%, right? So I'm gonna touch that one that's like bump up. Gloves. I know Axiom. That's why I'm checking the Discord every day. I've seen the Mokopi, was it Mokopi? The Stretch Sense gloves and everything else. It's not the best. See you around, Axiom. Good luck at classes. The oud cap though, it's nice because it's essentially the equivalent of the optical tracking of the Quest. You have like fingers play. Here this is just index tracking. See, it's just close open. That's not much. But I think having natural hand gestures is a big jump in immersiveness. I've always tried to present myself as organic as possible on streams. Oh, why if it isn't Pierre? Hi there. Wonder if I sit on a pillow so it's a tad bit higher. Let me try. Wow, that's far. No, that's a height increase. Is it back to my old posture? Let's see. Pins. There we go. Yep, that's the old posture. Except my chair is floating, so what we're gonna do is let there be more stool. Oh, now I don't fit in the frame. Come on, back up, camera, back up. Hydrate. Funny, I actually do have some water. Where is my water? Nice to see you here, Pierre. In case you didn't know, Pierre here makes fantastic art. Wow, is my water bottle refracting the IR light? It's a big, very transparent one. I think it is. Hence, it's making my chest act weird. Me sitting upright this way is actually better for my back. It shouldn't. Maybe I'm just covering it. Pierre says I just finished driving practice, so my brain is running high, but I'm glad I can chill with stream. Yeah, you know me, I sort of set the tone back to a good old 85 BPM. Or somewhere around those lines. Did you make the car do the fun sideways thing? Asked Beth. I'm not sure that's good for Pierre to do. Yeah, I mean, if it's Fluffy, it's fine. Fluffy can, like, tumble his car and drive off a cliff or all we want. But Pierre, no, we need to see Pierre make more art. I'm absolutely enthralled by the storybook style that Pierre has. Geb, do you know about Beth's semi-recent purchase? I think Beth makes a lot of purchases that we are unaware of, but what could that be, I wonder? I mean, it was already the Defender project. Oh, the big screen. Yeah, of course. I expected nothing less from Beth. So there's the big screen, and then eventually the Babel tracker, hopefully. The index controllers. It's funny how we were able to drag Beth into enjoying social VR, right? I guess our resident Demon King just happened to have a good time during the few instances of us being in VR. Having to bear with 5 wands? Ugh. Pierre says I will have to be making more art. I've just been playing Path of Titans a whole lot. It updated today, so I'm excited. Oh, good luck. Doran says they've made art to it. Wooden sculpture when? Oh dear, carpenter. I need to VR, man. I mean, you can, Wallow. Hmm. And so Spofar gets the gift of no advertisements. Thank you, Wallow. Look at those profile picture in Discord. I know, right? It's perfect. I'm gonna be picking up the indexes when I go home tomorrow. In how many hours is your departure, Beth? My goodness. We're gonna miss you. 2 weeks of no Beth in VR, Discord, or chat. Gosh. Who am I gonna play Space Marine 2 with? I'm still waiting on the Astartes overhaul to finally update. I can't believe I'm itching. A 12-man squad. That'd be fantastic. Imagine. Unfortunately, I think it's only you and me who has the game, Beth. I wish Doran and the others has it. I bet they're gonna have fun. Oh, all the customization options we could do. All the guns and the loadouts, the epic moments. Huh. Bring MLG back. Oh my goodness, with the air horns and everything. MLG gaming. Shit, that's an old era. What's this? I might be in text Discord if my parents didn't destroy the Starlink I get them. But my departure is in 14 hours. Well, chat, Beth is going on vacation, so. That sounds like a good opportunity for me to catch up on things too. Ideas. Gotta run back inside to teach my Tral how to. Go ahead. Imagine if Helldivers did an event where teams of up to 100 Helldivers battled against enormous swarms of Terminids. No response. So this is the 100 man versus gorilla thing, except yeah, that's gonna be funny. 100 Helldivers, one charger. All of you just have like the stun button. Oh, this talk about sandwiches is actually making me crave for some. You know what? A clubhouse sandwich. I'll probably go eat after the stream. I still have some of that nice red curry I can spread over that Japanese rice that remains in my pantry. Haha, ballistic shield and a machete. They're making it too easy for the Helldivers. It should be 300 Helldivers, you know. Just like the 300 Spartans. Just don't be blue. No toe sound up. Please. I'm good. $14 hours already. Who's gonna think? I know, right? Guess. Too bad. I've gotta bid our goodbyes to good old Beth for a while. I'm never trying a toast sandwich. I don't think there's any difference between trying a single slice of toast and a toast sandwich. You just have more to chew. Don't worry, give Gibby explosive crossbow and he'll do just fine. With the fret. Yes. My best friend, the ultimatum. I can't let go of the damn thing. Hello, Grave Lord. Ultimatum, my beloved. Ah, yes. I can't. It's just a pocket holy hand grenade. I wonder what makes it so darn heavy, though. You can only launch it 30 meters away. Ultimatum in Doran's face, my beloved. Ah, yes. The grenade pistol is indeed more practical, but having a small portable nuke that you can just pull out of your pocket at any moment when you don't have enough time to call in like the orbital precision rail strike. Yes. Holy crap, I got a stream, says Pancake Hider Pancake. Yes, and you get 2 shots? Yeah, I have a feeling I will take a stream break this Wednesday. The yawns and the everything is not stopping from happening. It's just, ooh. Oh, ultimatum with the supply backpack. Exactly, the grenadier. Supply backpack, you just scrounge up every little thing that you pick up. Ah, yes. Excellent. But it's so hard to let go of my little companion of a guard dog. I mean, it does a great job while I'm alt tabbing to social media real quick. Like, ooh, ping me over at Discord. This is weird. I feel kind of misplaced in this area. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like this world, but I feel like I don't really fit in it as much. Hell, I look lonely. And then we have like not lonely music going on. You have more polygons than Inda. Probably not incorrect there, actually. Man, I haven't been to District Roboto in a while. I kinda miss the bots. And don't you dare call them clankers. Polygons for days. Come on, am I really that high def? Those gosh darn automatons. Oh my goodness. They're just trying to live their lives in peace, Axiom. I just did a difficulty 10 dive with Fluffy. It was painful, says Doran. No, I bet. Oh, so you're more of a limited by performance sort of. I see. Two breads in a toaster, one. You know, I think I kind of understand why Blue is having problem getting ladies now. Because pretty lady presents itself, hi, nice to meet you. And then Blue's like, ah, pleasure, pleasure. It's like, oh, what are you eating? That looks fancy. And it's like, Blue, oh, me? A toast sandwich. What's that? It's bread and bread. You want some? It's like, hold on there, boy. How do we salvage a situation like that? Okay, wingman mode. We can't. We can't. It's a red flag running away top of me. There's no saving that. Evening, lad. I followed earlier and seeing a lot of your vids lately. Ya seem chill, says Davy boy. Deep boy. Hi there, Davy. I'm gonna butter the toast. Thank goodness. I thought all was lost. Would you like some of my bread? And then he like parts it, and it's just like you open like the supermarket bread, right? It's the plain old like sliced bread, but instead of one, he grabs three of it, and then he gets like the end. You know the end with all the crust on it, and like that's what he uses in the middle. So it's like different. He just toasts the other two and leaves the middle as the soft fill. Scarily accurate. Just make a grilled cheese sandwich, man. Oh, look, get some grilled cheese or quick melt or whatever. Put it on some bread. Put some like what basic herbs am I using? Basil, like put basil on top and melt it. Irish. Who's Irish, Pierre? We have an Irishman here in our chat. That's too fancy for a bread. Or, maybe you can get a can of beans, toss a tablespoon of butter in it, mash it with a fork or a piece of wood, and turn it to a paste and like smear it on said bread, and that's better. That doesn't sound too bad. Yes, because that's kind of like what do they do? It's oh god, I can't remember what it is, but it's something common. It's literally also a bean paste that they put on bread. I think it was Greek. Or no, it was hummus, like hummus. Hamas is different. No Hamas. Humus. I can sense it. I like very slightly Irish. Ah, I see. You're close with the accent, Lama. Though not quite Scottish. Okay. I honestly have a difficult time discerning Scottish from Irish. How do you pronounce it? Humus, Hamas, humus. I don't know. Humus, Hamas, hum. Okay. But if I read it literally, it's HUM-S. So us. That doesn't sound nice. Oh, you want some of this humus? That's so much better than a toast sandwich. Yes. Blue, make anything except bread as the filling in between two pieces of bread. Humming. So Hamas. Oh, Hamas. Humming, got it. Hamas. Don't forget to change the name. Yeah. I get to it later. Don't worry about it. Not like you're gonna die if I don't set it today. Funny enough, humus in Slovak means trash or stinky substance. I bet. What a humus. Wow. Speaking of accents, if it isn't Flera. How do we do this? It's a nice to meet you. I'm sorry. Flera here is a fantastic content creator from Italia. And I am absolutely enchanted by the accent and the voice, of course, and the very cute avatar. Nice of you to drop by. I didn't know you were streaming on Twitch. Or was I reading wrong? I thought you were only on TikTok. Welcome all the same. What were you guys up to? VR chat perchance? Or something else? Chat, you tell me. I bet you were thoroughly entertained by her stream, yes. No way. It's the guy from TikTok. Uh, mm. We were trying to discern what is the pronunciation of humus, humming. Yes. Hu- humus, ho. I am. I need to hear it. I need to hear it from somebody pronouncing it correctly. I'm a bit confused. Hmm. Humus, right. Anyway, that aside, chatters. Hi, my name is Gimp. I just chat on stream. I am marginally entertaining. I just play blues and jazz, but more of jazz on my stream. I try my best to read each and every little question that pops up over at my chat window. So yes. Medieval theme tavern song. Why can't I read names properly? Hold on. Let me just put this on real quick. Okay, I can write smoothly now. I am from PC. Hi, yeah. I'm stream mainly here to I will give you a follow later. I didn't know you were on Twitch. I have like 2 people that I really follow on Twitch, and I've been looking for people to throw my chat at after every stream. I actually started quite late today. But yes, a pleasure to have you here. Don't throw cheese at him. Flaira says, we were yapping a lot. I describe you to my chat as my male version with a deep, cozy voice. Deep, cozy voice? Oh my, well, much like my explanation in my one video. Me having a slower delivery of words is simply me actively thinking of the next thing to say, so I don't sound dumb. But yes, such is the nature of having English as your second language. But I try my best. It's practice, immersion, talking with friends and calls and whatnot. And eventually, well, we improve. You speak better English. Oh my goodness, Flaira. Whenever I read your messages, I actually watch your shorts on TikTok, like your stories and your uploads. I read your messages with your voice. And I've noticed you always add like an ah after the words. That's quite charming. Peak content. Gem trying to pronounce hummus for 10 minutes. Hummus. Bean spread. There, I call it bean spread. How do we give shout outs? I've never done it. I think wholesome content like you deserves all the support. There we go. Let's do this. Typing in VR is always an arduous experience, having to shoot the letters one by one. There we go. The channel that you are trying to shout out to something says, what? Sorry, Flaina. I don't know how to use the command. So what are you talking about? Right. So aside from the pronunciation of Hamas, which I assume is the correct one, we were also talking about how one of our chatters here, Blue Scales, is an avid fan of having what he calls toast sandwich. Maybe it's just a British thing. I'm not sure. But that involves having bread on the bottom. bread on the top, more bread in the middle, and smushing it together. Voila. And also how that's like, yes, that's where the problem of him not getting girls is stemming from. Flail says, I have to go because my dog is spraying me to go outside for almost 1 hour, poor baby. Sorry for leaving immediately. I wish you a good cozy stream, Cam. It was a pleasure to catch you online, Flaira. You must be tired, you have things to do. It's been a delight having you here. You have a great day, alright? I catch you sometime, don't worry. Chat, Flaira Sakai, one of the few streamers I actually wholeheartedly recommend. You like wholesome stuff like me, he's even more wholesome and lovely. Little slices of life. Now, where were we? So we don't bother her so much. It's always the British, Sentinel and Litza. And girl best friends. Oh, God. You know, it's not so much about the girl best friends anymore. It seems Blue's been having a rather tanky inclination as of late. Oh, why don't we have a little jam? When will I be able to catch you? When can we play together? Oh dear, oh my. Such a hazardous ordeal. But yes. Vesper says, that's why I prefer to move to my laptop whenever I need to type something while in VR. True, it's again difficult maneuvering the keyboard when you're just using controllers to shoot the letters. My friends who play Path of Titans with controller complain about typing. That's why I have my controller at hand while playing Helldivers or something. And then on my left is my keyboard. Wallow is asking, do you eat cereal? And if so, what is your favorite kind? Milo. So, it's the one that looks like dog food. So, Milo cereal is perfectly round, unlike Cocoa Crunch, for example. Cocoa Crunch nowadays is so hard that you try eating it with and it's not saturated in milk. Your gums and your palate is not gonna have a good time. It's like, did I just eat rocks? Milo, though, it's fantastic. It's perfectly uniform in size, chocolatey, malty in taste, and it mixes so good with milk. What would you call the milk that is flavored by the cereal, Chat? Is it a broth? It is a soup? What could it be? I have an answer, but I'm curious about what your input on it is. Cereal is a soup, according to Dorian. Alright, so soup for Dorian. Fluffy vehemently disagrees. Stock. No, it's not stock. Stock according to Nitoy. It's a soup depending if you add milk. Some people have it without milk. Yes. What I meant was it's with milk. Nobody else with the answer. You know what it is, chat? What milk is mixed with cereal. It's delicious, that's why. And welcome back, Vesper. I'm glad we could return. Yes, it's Vesper. Oh, look.
Side quests.
Side quests, aka CHORES. Vesper is not immune to chores. In fact, being the most capable in the family means you also have to carry the heaviest burden when it comes to cleaning and whatnot, which kind of sucks. Hello, Vesper Sentinel, Pierre. Wow.
Hi.
Vesper, how do you pronounce it? The hummus.
Hummus.
Hummus. Hummus. Whoa, hummus. What happened to my hummus? Alright, hummus. I will clearly remember that for a undetermined amount
Probably
of time.
not, but okay.
Probably hummus. I'm gonna revert to like hummus. Hames. Hames.
Hames, okay.
Hames. Let's go
No,
with
that's a brand
Hames.
of underwear.
Hanes. That's Hanes. It's with an N. Hanes. Oh, I think Vesper likes wearing Hanes undies.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
I used to have Hanes when I was in high school. That's what my mom bought me. Like she would get me the 3 packs of underwear, you know. It's like $2 for 3 pieces. It's the black, gray, and then white. I never worn the white ones. Mm. Helmsteed says, I miss you on TikTok. Can you go sideways so we can get the TikTok feels, please? Here you go, Helm. Hi. Don't know how long I can sustain this. Oh, I cannot sustain it any longer. Too bad. Yeah, I've kind of forgone streaming on TikTok. I just want to focus on Twitch 100%. It's me not having to work within the constraints. Look, if I was streaming on TikTok, the closest zoom I can do is like this. And you more often than not, you'll always have like negative space here or here. Not fun. And of course, there's the quality of TikTok chat. Don't even get me started.
Yeah, my average ban count was 10 each time get streamed.
Yep.
10 because nobody would behave.
Always, somebody's gonna ask something not exactly intelligent. Twitch, though, you guys are good. Quality's there. Decency, courtesy is commonplace. Comparatively to TikTok, TikTok's just literally brain rotten individuals 99% of the time. Huh. Hello, Beto7. Lauren says, I'm here too, I guess. Not sure about intelligent, though. Come, accept the praise. Ooh. Compliments are the enemy. So, note to self, next time I see Lauren, we make fun of their red and blue colors. Gosh, who would even mix blueberry and ketchup flavor together? Gosh, some sort of Captain
Now think
America.
about it this way. Think
Joking.
about it this way. Blueberries and strawberries.
Blueberries and strawberries. There we go. That's better. 100%.
Yeah, no, ketchup and blueberries is more Axiom's thing.
See you, Sentinel. Yeah, blueberries and ketchup is more of an Axiom thing. Axiom is one of our friends. He is special in his own way. Well, that's quite rude now, isn't it? A medieval tavern. In case you haven't picked up on it, this is a place where we cultivate manners and courtesies.
He leaves the horseplay for after stream.
Hello, Beast. To those of you that are new to my channel, I'm not that kind of streamer, chat. I am not your circus animal. I am not your personal clown. So treat me with respect. Thank you. Wallow says my perfect sandwich is bread, white, mustard, Colby Jack. What's Colby Jack cheese? Salami, mayo, lettuce.
Basically,
That's delicious. What's that? What's
it's
Colby
basically
Jack
cheese
cheese?
with like some peppers in it, I believe.
Oh, that
No,
sounds
the
interesting.
spices. Basically, it's a little spicy.
Ah, gotcha.
At least from what I can recall. Or if I'm recalling the wrong cheese, then my bad.
Cheddar, the white stuff. Double cheddar. Oh, I see. I see cheese, I ate
Oh, whoops.
it. Pepper jack is the spicy one, according to Wallow. Now we know, Ves.
Okay, yeah, now I know.
Helmsteed says, so is this multi-platform stream. Our response is aimed at Twitch. No, Helm. I am completely on Twitch nowadays. After I announced that I wouldn't be streaming on TikTok anymore, this is the only platform of choice I have when it comes to my lives. Is she a dragon or the hybrid of a dragon and a fox? Vesper, what are you?
Dragon,
There you go. Dragon.
not a fox.
She just has her wings tucked in, chat, so yes.
A little too bulky for a nice shot.
Gav, did you crash the... No, I did not crash the plane. We just found the plane, right, Vince?
Yes, we didn't do anything to it. We just found it.
Zizo says, why did you go to TikTok in the first place? Well, as would any fledgling streamer, they would obviously send out routes to every direction possible. So I started multi-platform, right? But as time went on, the quality of the majority of my TikTok chat didn't really change, despite heavy moderation, and that just kind of wore me out. So here I am on Twitch instead. Also, the constraints of having to work on one stream is like set to a vertical orientation, and the other is like meant for landscape. It was troublesome. So yeah. Oh, itchy. Hold on. Look at Vesper for now. Yeah, that's fair. Glad Twitch is a bit more manageable. Yeah. TikTok viewers were, to sum it up, kids. Kids that like go like, hey, can you bark? They're gonna go skibidi, whatever. Oh, it's like, headache.
Yeah.
Headache.
Or like obscene questions that you wouldn't ask anyone else in public situations.
Yeah, exactly. And then we also have the weirdos like, oh, Gab, can you be my daddy? Can you adopt me? Please step on my face and like, whoa. No. Also, see you around, Blue. Oh, I thought you were gonna go blurk. The banning and censoring of TikTok is wearing for a lot of furry streamers. Well, because their content is... It's not something you would show your grandma or like their... the grandkids, period. I don't really have a problem in that department. Talk, chat. I don't cuss. I don't have any lewd stuff going on my screen either. My topics are simply slice of life stuff and little shenanigans with a bad advice, but I think the stuff I do is pretty much perfectly normal and quite grounded in being wholesome.
Yeah, you could show this to your grandma. She might be confused why there's like talking animals on the screen, but yeah,
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
nothing bad going on here.
That's why I was commending Fleira Sekai earlier, because her stuff is lovely, it's wholesome, it doesn't reek. It doesn't reek of the negativity of the furry fandom. There are times I kinda wanna disassociate myself. I don't even use the hashtag furry anymore in my uploads. Before I used to, because I was going through Twitter and I saw a lot of individuals who go to cons and they fervently defend like having adult toys on display, like on whatever props they have in front of the general public. And then of course people are saying, you guys can do that in private instead and whatnot, instead of like being out where kids can see it. And they're like, no, like they use the F word, like screw off. Like, bro. No wonder we have such a bad view to other people. When they see and hear furry, they go, ew, right? And I get it, I understand. So I'm trying my best to show that there's a part of the fandom that isn't all that isn't icky and sticky. It's an uphill battle, chat. Also a big reason why I don't really associate with a lot of people. Call me what you will, chat. I've made my choice and I'll die on this hill. A lot of you are just... How do I say this politely? Gross. Come on, man. Why do you like smelling bad? What's with the musky, husky, disgusting crap that I see that's being cultivated?
It's not that quote unquote normal people don't do that though. It's just especially highlighted in the furry fandom. So that's why people hear the word furry and go, ooh, I do this and that. That's just because furry fandom makes it so prominent.
Exactly.
Whereas normal people don't.
Yeah, precisely. It's like $2 for deodorant, and the shower is very much accessible. God, chat, how do I even? It's the hygiene, like the kinks, the stuff you do behind closed doors. I have no right to judge it because that's your business. Will not be part of that. You do what you do, But if you bring that out into a public space to individuals who are clearly not involved, yet you're flaunting it. You're walking around in like clothing that barely covers, and you know what I mean, like the BDSM gear, the latex and stuff, and you have the masks, and You represent us furries, and then normal passersby see it. What idea do you think will they have on us? What impression, right? Like, have some shame, gosh. Call me a prude, but damn. What's this? Pet of Seven says, a kid called me a slur and asked if I did my business in a doghouse once. I was in a party on PlayStation once. It was among friends one point. I got livid. Me, I just block. In all honesty, I don't like wasting energy on negative people and things. It's so easily convenient to just like cut things out or not get yourself involved in the first place. So yeah. Chat, I'm no saint. Alright? I have my flaws too. I have my interests, I have my desires. But just like any well-mannered person, I don't put my feet up on the table when we're having dinner. Do you get my point? Wallow says, my BF is having me get rid of Twitter, to be honest. Only reason I have it is to get commissions. Same here. My Twitter is simply to have me upload my stuff and to look at all the artists that I follow. Again, I'm no saint. I follow NSFW artists too, predominantly from like Korea and Japan, because they just draw things so well. Like, it's more of like they can draw bodies so well. Sadly, being unclothed is also falls under the NSFW umbrella. But yeah, outstanding art, really. I'm hesitant whenever you see I profile people that join the Discord, right? So if you're there, you're gonna notice there's an introductions channel which you have to say who you are, and if you have social media, you post a link on it. So I check each and every one of the members to have a better idea of who's in my community. Let's just say some of them have very exotic tastes, and like that's fine. Just leave it outside the door, though. Okay, don't bring your shoes in. Have you ever been to a furry con in your life? No, and I don't want to go to one. I'll have to politely pass. It's just not my thing. I used to cosplay, chat. It was decent. It was okay. It was well air conditioned, and everybody had the decency to use deodorant. But based on the reports of my friends, furry friends, local, Philippines, who go to the cons here, note that my country is a very hot and humid country. They were saying that they were very challenged with the smells going on. That they could have made a lot of money selling deodorant on the spot, sort of deal. So yeah. Fursuits are fantastic. They're labors of love. They look nice. It's just the people inside that are not so fantastic all the time. Raxer says the fursuits are awesome and all, but when you're acting like a freaking one because people don't know who you actually are, it gets to a point where it becomes a major problem, especially when people start stereotyping and associating. Exactly. Eh. Wallow says the recent cons are very gross. I'm lucky I never went to one or don't wanna. Yeah, I politely past chat. If you wanna meet up with me, let's enjoy our time in like a restaurant or something. Let's eat like normal people.
Yeah.
Right? So some good Korean barbecue or some Japanese, some ramen together would be fantastic. Mm-mm. When Vesper comes and visits my homeland, I will 100% make sure that I show her around all the wonderful culinary delights that it has to offer. Because she said she's just had bland American food so far.
Yeah. Not a lot of cultural jazz, because probably the voice gives it away, but yeah, no, I live in a white as hell family. Seasoning, I
Yeah.
like bland food.
Excuse me. What's this? Fursuits are cool, but it's not for me, says Kagebush. Yeah. Same, I guess. Oh, no. The only time I would consider fursuiting is if it has the same fit and style as like the Japanese ones. Or because they just wear the suits and everything, right? And they just have like a head. It's the partials. And then they have like skin tight gloves that are so well made. And the head isn't like wildly blown out of proportion. I'm not a fan of the whole football mascot look that most suits have. Yeah, sure, they're nice, soft, cuddly, or whatever reason you may have. But aesthetic wise, it does not fit within my category of interest.
Either can be done in a way that's cute or a way that's yeah, a big ol' Stewie Griffin football size, you know.
Yeah. What's this? Dude, going out to dinner would be awesome. I want to try so many things. Food is my ticket to friendship. You and me both, Wallow. Give them balut. I don't think most of the outside world is prepared for that. Let's read it in Litz's voice. I wish I had K barbecue right now, man. He says same here. Oh, K barbecue, right? And then you have your kimchi, you have like your sesame dip, and you have your baby potatoes, you have your cheese. Oh, the cheese on the pork and the lettuce is amazing. How long till your streams become food focused? I can tell you really love food. Oh, I don't think there has been an instance since I have streamed that the topic of food has not been brought up once. You know me, I'm into food.
At least 1/5 of the stream is a food talk.
What she said, Chan. It just kind of slides in there. It all circles back into food because food is delicious. It's universally needed and accepted. Burb says, not talking since I'm drawing. Totally agree on food leading to friendship, right? Drax says I'm planning on making a fursuit. It's gonna be difficult, but I think it's an awesome way to show my creativity. Exactly, and congratulations and good luck with that. Now for cooking with Kim. Yes, get all of the splatter and the oil on my VR headset midway. Unless, you know, how some streamers do it. VTubers do the cooking streams with the camera pointing down, and all you can see is like their hands with gloves. Cooking with Geb, more like eating with him.
Well, you have to cook before you can eat.
That's true. I do have a work in progress fursuit that's sitting around. I'm excited to get it to work again. Again, chat, I'm not dissing on fursuits. No, no, no. Completely not. It's more of the user. It's the same as with motorcycles. I love motorcycles. They're beautiful machines. But I can't call every motorcycle rider a beautiful and responsible rider. You know what I mean? Like, sure, they're on a fantastic looking bike, but if all they do is rev their motorcycles with a shorty exhaust and blast everyone's ears when they're trying to rest or sleep or just have a peaceful day, yeah, that makes you a horrible person. A attention-seeking horrible person. Hello, the mighty Grandpa. Grandpa, are you old perchance? Hi there, Windy. I've never heard your accent before, but it sounds cute. My voice is actually pretty worn today. I'm sorry. It's. Let's just say I was playing games which involves me yelling and jump scares. Yeah, anyway. What's this? Fluffy is probably saying, "Oh yes, Geb is a goddamn hypocrite." With his advice that he's telling me on the Discord. Look, man. those are jokes. Okay. Besides, Fluffy, you still have your catalytic converter on, so you don't have like the explosively noisy exhaust. You still have the nice, refined, bassy sort of deal going on with your bike. No throttle for a few weeks though. Yeah, you see, Fluffy strained his wrist by like doing too much. His hand got hit by a sliding door. So yeah, I'm sad. I was gonna say he was doing like too much renovations, when you hammer stuff. Hello, Libid. Stay around, Helmsteed. Hydrate. Yes, Vesper. God. Where is it? Whoa, presenting my invisible bottle of water. I'd go to jail without it. Note to self, don't use this bottle, gosh. Yeah, do you have a stream schedule? Monday, Wednesday, and Friday around 11 p.m. Plus 8 GMT, Philippine time. Is that a poker chip? That is a coin. It's my handy dandy little thing that I flip around. How quickly time just passes by. We are 1 hour and a half already. So quick, so quick. I'm gonna teach my mom how to play video games. You do that. Sorry, Vess, what was that?
I was about to say, makes me wonder how long you're gonna stream today. Does he extend?
I
Does he
don't.
end on time?
I don't think I'm gonna extend today. I usually extend streams when I get a hit of inspiration. Damn, I'm really in the zone of just chilling where I am. But as nice as this world may present itself, chat, I'm not vibing with it 100%. Do you know how it looks from my POV? Hold on. Let's turn it away from Best real quick. Uh-oh. Hold on. look. It's just blackness. Yeah. But anywho, hold on. Where's the Vesper? Let's turn it back to Vesper. I'm also going to replace my expended cartridges real quick. This power bank is not lasting as long as I thought it would. There we go. Turn, check, put it in, and oops, and bam, we should be back soon. Vesper, hi to you too, says Libid. Libid is one of our TikTok viewers from before. So yes. Yeah. At least it's not rainy or windy there. Oh, it is. There's actually a storm around my place. It's been raining hard the past few days, and not exactly convenient to going outside. Oh well. Always have been. What's your first song? You mean my species? This is what you call a hydrangea. Hydragea. Kind of like the flower. Does that sort of make me a plant dragon? Now that I look at it, ish. Oh no, Geb's a flower. It's kind of cute. What's this? I like that her tail wiggles so often. Does it? Ah, yes. It. She's sitting on the wing of the plane, so it's. Yeah, there you go. So you have a better view. Well, I'll be going now, Saskagi. I go every Monday at night to a martial art training called Bujinka. Good luck with Bujinka. VX says, do you want to trade the storm over there for 40 degrees Celsius heat? No, because that's how it is here when it's not storming, and it's pretty terrible. It's hot in the Philippines, BX. Really hot. It seems it's been raining on Litsa's area too. You know, there's one thing I miss doing that I used to do when I was younger. And that would be taking a bath in the rain. I just go outside, hope it rains really hard, and then yeah. Now it's not exactly practical because of how dirty things are. Can we make it rain? Come on. It's the rain, huh?
But it entirely gets rid of the water.
It does, doesn't it? Mildly creepy.
Plus, definitely not practical for you, considering the fact that you would get sick.
That's true. I don't know if the rain is just terrible nowadays, because whenever I get rained on, 80% chance I'm gonna get sick. Colds and whatnot. Terrible, really.
I mean, it also could be that you're living in a city,
Yes,
so there's like a lot of pollution in the air and such, and the rain
Lots of
captures it as
pollution.
it falls down on you.
100%. That's what's happening.
He lives
Unlike
in a big city.
before.
I live in a smaller town.
Yeah, but acting like a sick Victorian. These accursed raindrops. It's pretty hot here in Brazil as well. Oh, isn't Brazil just kind of like the Philippines too? Except connected to America. Though I've seen lovely sights over there as well. The Philippines is not sufficiently flood prepared. Oh no, absolutely not. We just manage, you know. Filipino positivity. Oh, our house is wrecked. That's okay. It's part of life to have my everything just float away in the flood. Ooh, I'm just gonna look at the sky, put my hands together, and somehow make it all go away. That's the Philippines. Now it's all in the DM's plan, you know, me being miserable. So the, the DM's strongest soldiers are given the strongest challenges. Okay, buddy. Uh, Funny thing, says Seven. I used to try to take a shower in the rain back in Arkansas when I used to be in my grandparents' house in the forest. That sounds nice. It's just like forest, quiet, and then like actual clean, pure rain falling on you. And like the sprites and the dryads will slowly approach you and everything. You see like spirits floating and crap. Or your local cryptid takes interest in you and brings you to their lair and does cryptid things with you. Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. Gab, can I get your background music playlist? Just listen to Chet Baker. That's where I get my tracks from. Chet Baker. It reminds me of that streamer I saw here. They were in this nice, like, what was it, like a Nordic shaman outfit with a sword, and she was like dancing and everything. It's, like, it's pretty cool. Also, what happened to my hands? Hello. Yes. How did you find your persona as a dragon? Was it intuition or well, how about you ask Vesper that question first, and then I'll answer after. I'm gonna stand up.
I really just experimented, tried a few different things. So, like, I tried to make a few different personas: rabbit, a few dragons, a wolf, dogs, alien. None of them really seemed to fit. So
Alien? Did I just
I
hear
saw the Nova
alien?
Beast, and I alien.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
basically saw the Nova Beast, went full circle, like, huh, it's a cute species, so
Right.
might as
So
well
cute.
make a persona based off it. So I picked, Nova Beast, Nova Beast. What else could I pair this with? Ah, yes, I really like space, so why not a black hole? Eventually, that evolved into this, the Luna Beast, and well, I don't really look very much all that spacey now. I look more Halloweeny.
I think she looks cute. That's fine. I think
Yeah,
we can
it's
all
a,
agree
it's a
on
dragon
that.
because
Chan.
the Nova Beast is dragon-like.
So there you have it. Answer from Vesper herself. Well, sorry, I'm doing a bit of a stand. Can I read my messages if I go all the way here? Ah, the Nordic music. Yes, ever so enchanting, wasn't it? Walking around this place, it isn't so bad. New profile. Oh, I am aligned, aren't I? There. Oh, it reminds me of the recent photo I had. I was just standing like this and hold on. Does it show in pin tree? Hold on. Let's see. Pin 2. Yes, I'm just standing in the water. Hello, chat. Yes. Normally, my posture is just. My hands are behind my back. Nice here. The old man walks like this, you know.
It hurts.
Oh, my back hurts. Oh. Walking in water, it's very shallow water. Come on, look, there's like no water. There's no water on me right now. It's sand. Soft sand. Cool shooting stars. Oh, it is, isn't it? A lizard moon. A lizard moonbathing instead of sun. Oh, these stars. How lovely. Well, seems everybody grew quiet. My trackers are sliding off. Just enjoying the view, pretty much. You know me when we hang out in the VR chatlets. I just bask in the scenery. Let it all soak in. Yes. Yes. Raise the moon. You are photogenic. Thanks. It looked like when zoomed in a bit. I kind of plan on what I want to make for my VR chat model. For streaming, just need a computer, a laptop. We all started our journey with simple dreams and aspirations. I'm sure you can make it too. All it takes is diligence, practice, and enough patience to do everything that's required to achieve the goal that you're after. I've spent countless of hours, trial and error, trying to get the avatar to my liking, learning how to kit bash, learning how to get things properly shaded, getting clothing attached the way it should be. God, don't even get me started on weight painting, and that's why I commend all of the advanced creators out there. When I say advanced, because they all know the methods that I'm not familiar with. Have you seen Red Eclipse yesterday? I don't think I have, Libby. It takes a lot of nerves, yes. Definitely. Money, no. A problem that a lot of us fundamentally have. Clearly lacking in that department. Gosh. If only all of us were blessed with good finances. Let's avail ourselves of all the things we wish to have. But unfortunately, we have to work hard for it. Ah, a lottery win. Congratulations to them. What would I do if I win the lottery? I would still stream. Just without this bar anymore. Hello. I missed it twice, knowing it would be. Winning the lottery, huh? I know most people will blow it over unwise expenses. In all honesty, I wouldn't know what to do with the money if I get it. But I know that I should save a big bulk of it until I figure out what to do with it. Others would just quickly blow it on things like partying or luxury goods, cars, jeez, vices, women, men, whatever they wish to indulge in. But after a while, they're going to realize their fortune is going to disappear, evaporate, vanish into thin air. I've read a lot of stories about people who won the lottery and, well, ended up just as broke or more after. I'd probably buy a home and a fursuit just guess. Me and 3 other people were gonna all live together. So winning it would help me dream. A big chunk of my fortune, aside from it being invested, will go into medical research to plan for the inevitable. The failing of the body as Father Time sweeps his hand over it. Each passing day, we all march towards returning to dust. It's a reality that many of us only face when it's too late. So prepare while you still can. While you're young, capable, you can still walk, sit up straight, pick up things without your back giving way. Many people take for granted the youth that still flows in their veins. You shouldn't. You really shouldn't. Not waste it on dumb things. Use your youth to prepare for when it starts becoming scarce. And also remember to brush your teeth well, of course. Always. 100%. See you around, Lebede. Thanks for joining in. And that puts us. Oh no. Oh dear. Somebody clearly got rid of the decimals. A certain Beth who is not here anymore will be unhappy once he returns. Thank you so much, Anone. Anonymous Meows. Always. Thanks for being there. I appreciate that. You know I appreciate you. I would be calling you cool if I didn't. Well, you have to thank the people helping you. And I'm always grateful for the ones that do. The Decimal Lord will be unpleased. 100%. Listen to this. Just checking in if Vesper's okay. Look at her ever so hard at work. You okay? Because she's deep in thought.
Gav just wants the camera pointed away from him for a moment. Oh, he's pointing at me instead.
What she said. Gosh. You know, I'm surprised to see so many viewers. I thought I would have scared them off after my whole disagreement with the majority of the furry fandom. A lot of people don't like hearing others say no towards what they're interested in, especially when they have a justifiable answer. They would equally and as quickly simply deny all of the truths. Bad things that's happening. Yes, live inside your little box. Finally, a pretty number to look at. Agree. What was the disagreement? Oh no, it was just me disagreeing with a majority of what the furry fandom is doing nowadays. Openly show your kinks and whatnot in public, especially in cons, where everybody can see you. Do not follow standard practice of hygiene and whatnot. And when they get called out, they just tell people to screw off. Please. Again, do what you want to do behind closed doors. But don't get mad when people call you out when you're in the public. Oh, yeah. Hi there, Drax. Tiger B returns. Munching on some honey. I wonder who that is. A certain somebody with a new texture. Working hard for the Demon King, I see. My goodness, of course we're gonna have like decimals. It lasted for a grand total of what? 5 minutes, Liz. It's a funny number though. There's 3 1s and 3 zeros. I think that's pretty cool. It's not that bad. But still, there is a 0.01. Oh my goodness. What is that? It's like having perfectly smooth skin, but you have just that one little stubble sticking out that you can feel when you run your hands across it. Ah, the nasty ingrown. You know, one of these days we should call Dorian Space Fox. Oh, Fluffy, putting it into the cool number. L337. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Fluffy parting with his fortune because he can't bike. What a rare occurrence.
almost flew.
Tossing some gas money. That will probably get me in the Philippines $12 of gases.
There's a girl
5 liters of gas.
and she's almost you.
Or 6, I think.
Almost
What do you mean, Space Fox? Well, look, Dorian Fox, right? But now it's Dorian
that you promised
Space
with your eyes.
Fox. Dorian Space Fox.
Seeing hers too.
We're now at 2 hours. Ah, yes, that's true.
From
Dorian Weeze Fox.
flirting with this disaster became me. It named me as
Oh, wow, I think you have to type exclamation point tip without the amount. It's not automatic. Just imagine if there's no prompts. So you just type exclamation point tip 12 and 50 cents. But you forget to put the decimal in the middle. I mean, I'd be happy. But Trax says, I saw 2 Africa twins the other day. I see why you want one so bad. They're sick. They are. I've partially given up on that dream because of how much I had to spend for the apartment and how expensive the rent is. Oh God, I maybe one day, who knows? Couple of years per chance. It's roughly $22,000. The brand new Africa twin. And having that extra money aside, like this is for rent. A couple of months of rent because I just freshly moved into an apartment and I don't want to just live monthly to monthly. Why do all the cruel people? Oh my goodness, that's a horrible number. 2674. Fairy bread. Fortunate. Beth ain't here. Oh my goodness. Crouch the camera. Unfortunately, the Demon Lord, the Demon King, is not within proximity. You are fighting against the forces of darkness, Litz. Imagine that's just the minions. I thought it was 18k, 20. No, in the Philippines, the Africa Twin is 22k. It's 1,000,000. Oh my god, it's 23k, not 22. 1,150,000 pesos. Do you want to know how much minimum wages in the Philippines is? Every month, working Monday to Friday, will net you around 15,000 pesos, like $300. Can you imagine? $300 and you have to split that to bills, rent, food, basic necessities, gas, transportation. See how out of reach is luxury things like these bikes are to most of us. That's a little under what I earned before when I was working in an agency. I was there for a good 4 or 5 years. Um, the most I got was like 500 a month, but more than half of that went to bills. And after everything, including my monthly grocery to just eat 2 meals a day, I had maybe $50 worth of pocket money to spend on anything I wanted. It's difficult, chat. We are after the 2 hour mark of streaming, that's true. 2 hours and 7 minutes to be precise. Which means I will be going soon-ish. What? Want me to disappear now?
Soonish. 22 minutes.
Soonish. 28 minutes. No, 22. Oh, it got corrected. Gosh. Gosh, oh, goshity gosh. And none other than Anonym. Yes. Soon, trademark. 1 more hour. 1. Ish. Ish. Or 20. Oh my god. That's true. The cost of living is higher there, Doran, probably. I mean, it definitely is. But the thing is, the price of luxury goods is the same pretty much in all countries. So, like, the ceiling isn't as high. Oh my goodness. The Demon King is here. He's like here right now in chat. You'd think he would let such atrocity of a decimalist number persist? Of course not. Just like him brandishing the flamethrowers in the caves of Oshan, he blazes away. The 2 clean zeros at the end. Wonderful, my minions, proclaims the Demon King. They've been doing an excellent job, Held strong against the decimal haters. Yes, Doran, the absolutely, astonishingly, what else can I comment? Sugar-coated, a lovely looking red and blue fox. I mean, I can stop with the compliment. You know what's worse than decimals as tracks? Letters and mathematics itself. That's when I started losing track of solutions and whatnot. Ever since they introduced us A, B, and C's and X, Y's, and Z's. With fractions. Just wait until the... You should ask the student here. Vesper, how is your mathematics class going? What are you tackling nowadays?
Oh, I don't have any math classes this semester. That was like my first 2 semesters I had mathematics to deal with. So first semester was algebra, second semester was statistics. I already
That
did
makes
algebra in high school, so everything just clicked. Statistics, however, I had a bit of a hard time with. So
Yeah,
instead of an
okay.
A, my usual A, I got a B.
Oh my god. I got a D and I'm happy with it. I'll take it home. A B. Like, oh, look at me. I just had 83 out of 100 on an exam. Dash Vesper. God, what a disgrace to the Stitch's name.
No, it's just a big part of me going to the college I am now, where I transferred to somewhere else, is basically just to raise up my grade point average and all that, because it was like 2.5 during high school, because half of it was spent taking care of my grandma.
Oh.
So my grades downward slope. Zoom. So my focus is just trying to get those up, and I managed so far.
These get degrees. These. These.
Dragon bees.
Yes, as Vesper's in a bit of a funny mood, as you can tell. Oh. Now. Oh, what's that on my eyes? Vesper cam. Okay, there we go. You know when hair gets to your eyes?
Yeah. That's why I've got like the fabric headband. I just put it on, and yeah, that helps me avoid getting hair in my eyes while I'm playing the.
Fabric hairband. I just have my hair in a pony. The glasses. Calculus has to be one of the most fun but annoying math classes ever, says Trax. Oh, really? Calculus. Also, hi there, Moxart. Welcome to the stream. First time chatting, I see. Rolling out of lurkdom. No, I don't know that feeling. Of course you did. Look, I wouldn't even call Beth a freshly mowed lawn. There's no grass in the first place. He's more of like the dunes of sand behind me. You know, nice and smooth and probably mildly abrasive. In a good way. Mock says, I found you through your clips on Twitter. Your model is adorable. Thank you, Mox. Why did my drool just... Sorry, my bad chat. What happened? This is just I randomly drooled. No, I got that lumpy head. I mean... I'm sure nothing a massage gun can sort out. I have seen things, Beth, like an actual head polish. So if you're sporting a bald head and you want it nice, moisturized, and shiny, you have like this little ointment or balm and you just polish the noggin. Got that game. No, don't make me imagine Beth as Tyler 1. When he takes it off, like, oops, that's the drag in my ears. Wow, I look weird in my ears drag forward. What were you before you went to VR chat? I was your casual, everyday person that likes video games and good food.
Can't get much more complicated than that.
Oh, that's right. I was recovering from homelessness. That's who I was. I lost everything. My connections, my business, my name, my craft. But that was a story, a song already sung. Something best placed on yesterday. I have a polishing attachment on my wrist. Is it the no a polishing attachment? I know the razors, like the Gillette, like you get like the triple blades, right, like this, and then on the top there's like a little strip that makes things like slippery. Gosh, oh golly gosh. Let's see. What is happening on my Discord? It's that time in which I alt tab and see what's going on. Alright, we have somebody new joining. We have Doran and Fluffy still in the drive-thru enjoying the crunch. In media, there's me, of course, Wallow. I didn't know Wallow was watching. Hello. Oh my god, that's the filthy Frank Balls. He's in the pink guy outfit. Please don't look in food. Looks in food. Oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, I see you eating that. I'm walking out the room, walking out the door, going home.
Ooh. My boy. You wanna have a girlfriend, right? So you said you wanted ladies. Let's just say that is a rather unflattering piece of bread that will clearly not attract any of the kind that you want. Oh my god. Why is it spread uneven? Oh, Blue, you didn't even spread it in the middle. You just like dunked your finger in like a tub of butter and like cleaned it on the bread. And lo and behold, there is bread in the middle. Another toast sandwich. Yeah, being a blue scales wing. Oh my goodness, I've been a wingman for so many of my friends already. End of the day, they all end up as. You know what? I actually succeeded with one. He actually listened. An average British meal. 2 random globs. There's a lot of helping to be done. Do you set your statuses or no game? I think I'm just on orange pretty much all the time. First time was for the joke, the hoo-hoos and ha-has. This is now the second time, so Doran, it's not a joke. He actually. I wouldn't be surprised if Blue like wipes his sweat with like a dry piece of white bread, you know. Ugh, add some flavor into it. That's at least better than what he's making. Just making it a bit saltier, you know. Like, oh god. I'm sure
Oh my
nobody will
God.
notice. You know, put the bread there and then. Mm, mm. Oh yeah. He's putting in the old spice on the bread, you know. Gotta eat the salt. Oh my goodness. Oh. So, imagine being cold in the winter, right? It's just like, but instead of putting your hands, he had the brilliant idea of that being like biological toasters. So he puts like one slice of bread each, like his armpits, keeps it warm for like 2 hours as he rides the bus, and then when he arrives on his destination, it's just like, mm, mm. It's just, kasi, like, you know, because there's some hair and stuff. He's not sweating because of no cardio. So that's true. That's true. He's perfectly okay, you know. He needs cardio. Maybe the girl best friend's the one who's gonna teach him how. Probably. I mean, he was invited to cycling and then remember he said no or something. It's like, "Ah, boy, the female was asking you to do a physical activity with her, and what do you do? So yeah, he's sweating all the time because there's no cardio. That's where he like gets a dull butter knife. You know, he just like does that, and then like little scrapes of like British butter gets collected into the tub. Probably in a week, he has like it refilled. It's like a self-sustaining organic thing. And that's what he puts on the toast sandwich. He was in a bit of a hurry earlier, hence like it just looks like glob on the top and bottom of the bread and the food channel. But at least it's salted butter. I physically gagged. So, um, can't be ruined my snacking. You have to blame Doran and Beth for steering me in this direction.
Damn, I'm starting to get hungry, and then you mentioned that I lost my appetite.
Yeah, man, there's a dull butter knife. He like runs it in between. It's like, that's quite a lot in it, and then it's like puts it straight on his toast, and then. So yeah, that's self-sustainability.
Mm-mm.
Mm. Yeah, Dorrance as well. Guess
Killer of
I'm no longer
appetites,
hungry.
okay.
Oh my god! And
No, Gab, no, don't carry on. Do not. Do not. Do not. Please.
get rid of hunger with this one simple trick. Brother, please, we give the talking stick to Vesper now. Alright, there you go, Vesper.
About.
See, she doesn't know. Alright. So I used to have a fat friend, right? I
Oh
mean,
God, no,
he's still alive though. I mean, when I say used to, I just don't hang out with him as much. So I used to have a fat friend, right? We were friends since college. right? So friends in college, broke students and everything. And then one time I was joking, he loves fried chicken probably more than I do. And I he wasn't exactly well off. He didn't have a running fridge at home, maybe because he wasn't able to repair his ancient one. And I said, "Hey man, you should take home the chicken and whatnot." And then he said, where am I gonna put it? Like you're still stuffing his mouth the entire time. I said, you can like use your flip one up and put it in your inventory slots, and it'll probably still be fresh at home. It's warm, and that's the very very watered down version of the joke. I think Litz and Vesper knows what I'm talking about. I said, wouldn't it just be convenient? It's, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop Vesper's like giving a really grossed out face. The inventory slots. So yes, yes. Just pull a drumstick out of that, like when you get home. Hmm? Yeah, still good. And like get some rice, like into a ball and delicious. Stream is over in 3 minutes. Vesper wants it to shut up.
Yeah. It's just damn. Okay. Grow some people out at this point.
This is an effective way. From now on, whenever I say stream's over and I want chat to leave, I'm gonna start saying the gross stories. Yes. Not the chunky milk again. Oh my god, it's like when you drink
No.
straight from a carton, it just falls on your throat. It doesn't flow. Like, yeah, just oh. Mmm. Beth says, after looking again at the toast sandwich, it's not even right. It's supposed to be toast between two pieces of bread. I mean, there was the effort. It was the British butter placed on the top and bottom of it. Look, it's in the food channel, Vesper. Look at it. He was so bad at cooking, he messed up a toast sandwich, says Doran. How could you mess up having a slice of bread between two other slices of bread? Lit says, this is the first time I'd rather not listen to you talk. Yes.
I'm so sorry. How did you mess up 3 slices of bread? How? Do you need cooking lessons?
Oh no, I don't know. He just... But going on a more delicious topic, I absolutely love peanut butter on bread. Not a big fan of the chunky peanut butter, because I think the big peanuts kind of get in the way of the nice old smooth texture of actual peanut butter. But then there's this brand. I think it's called Goober. Yes, it's called Goober. And it was like the brown stuff and then like whatever jam it was, and then you could mix it in the bread. And it was good. I remember when I was younger, to gross out my sister, I will make a nice little peanut butter sandwich, right? I'll like chew it and everything. And then I would smile with all of the peanut butter still like on my teeth. And I would say, no tooth decay. And then she would smack me and run out of the room. And I would continue enjoying my sandwich. Goober is actually good. has the lines of peanut engraved. Right? It's actually. Oh, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm getting really hungry. I'm craving for it. I haven't had. Oh my goodness, Jan. I haven't had peanut butter in like 2 years or more. I. That was just from a sandwich my friend gave me. I can actually afford peanut butter now, Jan. Wow, I can. This week, I'm gonna buy some of that nice white bread and then get me some goober. Oh, God. Calorific goodness. It's like a smoothie, minus it being cold and edible through a straw. Peanut butter and Nutella on toast was my number one drunk food. Drunk food, Bev? I thought normally when you're a drinker, what you go for are like dried corn chips and what's this, like mixed nuts. It was like green peas and like garlic flavored stuff. No, you know what, Beth? I'm gonna put it on my throw. Because the lasagna, as much as I love it, I'm putting it on break. So there's gonna be two new things. The Chicken Mountain. It's this thing from this Japanese place. It's chicken karage, but it's like shaped like a mountain. And I don't feel guilty eating it because it's just so good. It overrides the ooh, it's calorie dense. And then we're gonna add the peanut butter. Yes. Buy Geb some peanut butter and bread. That sounds like I'm a lizard in a zoo and then you're just. I don't care. I still like it. I found that I cook weirdly well when I'm. What? So. So Beth here has more culinary creativity when inebriated. I see. That would be interesting to see. So one of these days, if we get together, Beth's gonna be there in the table. We're gonna drag Litz, Fluffy, and everybody else, Doran too. And then we're gonna have Beth like away from the coffee, but with the alcohol, and then we're gonna have him cook. Okay, Grandpa Geb, it's time to go. What is karage? Karage is Japanese fried chicken. It's delicious. It's very tender because I think it's been marinated in. Oh, was that Doran? Oh, it was Doran. Sorry, my bad. I mixed the names. That was Doran. I suck at cooking even. Okay. One thing we should know is we should not let Blue into the kitchen when it comes to anything bread related or butter related. That last part's most important. I'd like to cook, says Vesper. It's just that I can't do it often. Blue has lost bread privileges. That sounds like a funny nickname. Like Blue Scales Dash. Or like open close, like parentheses. No bread privileges. Oh, not me, CVTT. We have a member in the Discord, buddy of ours named Blue Scales. And he just posted a picture of a toast sandwich. I just made karage last week and says Flavin is so good. Right? Brit shouldn't be allowed in the kitchen. That's mean. It's a miracle when I don't get eggs in my scrambled eggs. Oh god, you know how long it took me to actually learn how to break eggs properly without the eggshells falling into it? Alo says I like making eggs over easy dipping bacon and sausage. into it is so good. Oh god. If we were all neighbors, I'd just ask you, hey guys, do you want to eat out right now? Like after stream. Man, I miss having friends that I can just ask out for food trips. All of my IRL friends are pretty much not within proximity anymore. Hi, Howler. We were just talking about food, and yes, Mr. Apple Crumble drops by. Same man, wish I had friends. I have friends. I have treasured friends, but unfortunately, we are separated by the great oceans. We are just bound by Discord, VR chat, and games. Lauren says, about a month ago, there was a wine festival in my town. Me and my friend only really got home at 3 a.m. and we had a fair bit to drink, and I ended up having a really good garlic crouton salad. Garlic crouton salad, ooh. I wish I had friends. No, I'm not miserable, chat. I'm though true. I wish there was more like company readily available locally, like literally just to enjoy food with. Like, hey man, there's this new place. It's this Korean restaurant. They give free cheese, and the sides are all included in the $10 price. Unlimited meat. You, me, we go. That's what I miss. Something I always enjoyed when we were heading home from classes in college. We would always drop by this little dim sum place, so we would buy like 4 pieces of shomai, like pork shomai, pork dumplings, and then just a little bit of rice, some soy sauce, some lime twisted on top, and some chili. $1 for it, and we would eat in a communal setting. Four of us friends. It was always a nice time. Small 30-minute highlight of the day that you look forward to. Such an unexpected topic, says Howler. Food. Kept trying not to make us hungry after the British butter. Well, I mean, yesterday I just had some spring rolls. So it was this nice, crispy rice paper, like perfectly fried, right? It's golden, mildly bubbly when you bite it. And then inside is a medley of bean sprouts and other veggies inside, which you dip into like this sweetened vinegar soy sauce dip. It's like watered down. Like, it's so good. It's so cheap. Oh my goodness. And then what else? I still have of that red curry. I bought the big serving. So the red curry it's thick. It has like coconut milk on it. So it's a nice creamy sauce with your meat in portions. It's also tenderized, properly prepared. It's perfect even when reheated. And little bits of veggies. I think it had string beans and something else. And then you just pour it over hot steaming rice, right? Get your spoon. Mmm. Satisfying and filling. Gosh. I'm hungry now. Gotta make myself some food while getting ready for work. It's really hard to resist the allure of nice, freshly cooked fried chicken with the skin still perfectly intact but crispy, tender, delicious. And then you put it in your favorite dip. Like most of the time, I just dip it in like tomato ketchup, and I'm happy with it. You take a bite and then you part it. You see the meat all glistening in white and like steaming, soft and juicy. Oh. I'll have you know that my stomach is groaning at the moment. But yes, see you around, Wallow. Have some good food. Thanks for the support today. Gab is stalling because of food. Classic. Stalling me, please. I'm not stalling. I'm simply sharing the love of my life with you guys. Totally not dead. That's why I cover like the stream timer thingy-majig. Would lasagna made of golden beef be good? You know what's funny? I will eat, like, if it's all in one part, I would scrape off the cheesy and the beefy parts and eat it with a spoon and then wash it so I could sell and pawn the gold bars. Waste na. Geb never stalls. He ends exactly when he wants. Beth knows the secret of my wizardry, yes. Gold-plated Beth. I think his head is shiny enough as it is. Have you ever had shark? It's really good with soy sauce. In France, it's not authorized to fish, but it's authorized to sell. When, when it was still being served here many years ago, it had this cartilaginous texture to it. I had like shark's fin soup from the Chinese restaurants. It was delicious. It wasn't worth the premium. I actually enjoy fish lip soup or sweet and sour soup. Hot and sour, sorry. Or the bird's nest thing, I think. Very good. The Chinese never fails to impress with their soups. It's nice, it's thick, it's very filling. You have your like little bits of egg and whatever in it. Ah. I think it's gotten to the point where we can move the average stream time to 3. Listen, Trax. As you may notice, whenever somebody nudges the bar, that bar over there, a little bit towards me, I start to get into a better mood, and then the conversations follow sweet. And yeah, here we are. It's hard not to smile when you have people throwing their love at you. In the form of coins. Huh. And especially with the topics about food. Yes, we started a little gross with the whole blue scales, homemade British butter, uh, and the armpit storage device. But I mean, we're picking up on the more delicious aspects now, right? So. Oh my god. Nah, Blue. Right as when he's not here in chat is when we poke fun at him the most. Basically a streamathon then. Streamathon? What do you mean? This is a bad time to be hungry but also be stuck at working. Do you guys know what steamed pork buns are? In the Philippines, we call them siopaw. So, here in the Philippines, like, we have normally siopaw is just this big, right? Like, you grab it. Here we have ones that are this large. It costs like $3, and it's enormous. It's like So inside you have your nice tender meat mixed with some like flour, um, the like green. What do you call this? Like chives. You have some chives, the meat, a little bit of carrot, and then this nice like sweet and salty Chinese sausage. We have a little bit of red egg, and then a nice slice of pork belly inside. And oh, oh, that's good. Hi, Nord. I'm glad you made it. Hi there, Grey Whisperer. In Vietnam, it's called Ban Hao. I love it so much. Oh, I love that Ban Hao. Like there's banh mi that's very crunchy, flaky bread with some barbecued pork and a pate on it, with some radish, I believe. Oh, you have some snacks. After stream, I'm gonna eat good. Streamathon is basically a thing where a streamer streams for an amount of time that keeps growing for every time someone donates. One dude streamed for 500 plus hours due to that many donos. I think the opposite happens on my streams. I've been paid to stop streaming. On more than one occasion. You have Beth to blame. I don't know. It's the opposite of a streamathon. It's like, Geb, stop. You're stalling. Just say the damn word, that the RAWR. The MAOW. Ah, yes, bribes work. But that's true. As Doran says, bribes work. I think it's more of when chat knows I'm tired and I need some rest. And then all of a sudden I get like the small boost of energy and then I start persisting on stream, even though I said it's over. And out of concern, they find a way to make me click the stop streaming button. Yes, Dim, thank you so much for the hydrate. I don't want to kill. That's true. Beth cares not much. I can't spell. What were those two words? Letter R, A, W, and R again. MEOW. We haven't even done the double A yet. I drank. Mitsu-san. I would usually do an hour break, but I kind of just work while eating. Ah, yeah, so we're gonna see Mitzi streaming in the Discord with this microscope camera on the PCB. And then we're just gonna see like a small piece of donuts or bacon fall on it. Yes. Eating while working. Then you start talking about the British butter. I mean, I can continue on the topic, but I think an important chunk of my viewers are gonna disappear. I know Beth is highly amused. Oh, Blue Scales Farms. Yeah. Freshly scraped. British butter, yes, yes. Tell me more, says Fluffy. No, thank you, says Vesper. I'm eating and I would rather not hurl me a bite. Oh, God. I'm so tempted. I'm so tempted. There's so much I can say that involves hair and rolled up stuff. But Ooh. Oh. Oh my god. The hero of light, the reluctant one, Litz, is fighting with all her might for me not to say it. The whole just a continuation of the British butter, and then like, yeah. So that's I won't. I will spare you for now. Oh my god, the howler just had to bring it up. And the nails. Oh god. So Wallow was talking about something about like like pepper jack cheese. So sometimes you have cheese that's been pre-seasoned. So after probably working in the garden for a few hours, our dear farmer Blue can just use the gifts from Mother Nature. Anyway, moving on. How much music do you listen to, Gib? I would say I'm more like an addict. 50 hours a week. I have no hours logged towards my music needs. But pretty much whenever I have my computer on, I would always just be listening to music. Or if I'm not on PC. Yes. Hold on. I know I can. How do I refresh this thing? There, TTS should work now. Nope. Volume set to 0. That's freaking can't hear me anymore. What's this? 2.43. I think it kind of like flew over this. Did I lose internet chat? No, I didn't. Would rather keep my appetite in the food I consume. You know what? I'm hungry, chat. I probably won't extend stream. Don't worry. How about this? Consider my stream over, chat. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a great day. Nordex, thank you so much for parting your dragony wealth and supporting me with a sub. And yes, everybody, thank you. Stream's over. Shoo, skedaddle. Totally not gonna talk about food stuff.
How dare you?
Beth. Quite not the lack of decimals. The Demon King is a challenging adversary. Oh dear. Stream definitely over 100%. If it's on you, if you stay here and I start diverging towards other topics. Okay. I don't know, let's. Oh. My god, this howler's still here. Thanks, Geb. Have a great morning. See you around, Drax. See, look, Draxer has some good sense into him. Drax is about to go and close my stream. Like the wise person they are. I am always here, says Howler. Hello, Falcon Fresh. You sound like a fantastic brand of deodorant. Go to con smelling great. Enjoy your Falcon Fresh. Goodbye. I'll see you around, Litz. Thanks for dropping by. I appreciate you being around. So me coming here makes me unwise? That's on track for me. What are you, an orc? Oh man, Litz. I wish Litza would get her full body working again so we can go browse all them funny anime trope worlds. Man. Okay, and thanks again. Hey, it was a compliment. I'm all about having good oral and, well, body hygiene. Cha-cha. Hello, Equinox. I see you around. Yes. For once, I'm happy Geb is stalling. Me is stalling. I'm doing okay, Falcon Fresh. We can still drag her to horror, though. I feel up for some horror after stream. Ooh, horror after stream, huh? I wonder who we can drag along. Let's see. Let's. I know you're probably still there. What's this? That makes me miss when I used to, so I could flip my lighters. Ah, yes. Fluffy says, as you said, FBT, I checked the shipping date. They changed it again. Oh, Fluffy, I would always order aftermarket slimes. The official ones are, from what I've read, a little hit or miss. You know, there's this thing called somatics, which I can. Well, they said they wanted me to try it. Well, they offered me a deal, but I haven't heard back from them. I would endorse it if, well, maybe I get a sample or so. But I'm perfectly happy with my vibes at the moment. Yeah, it's a little clunky, a little big, but there are significant benefits to running slimes. No occlusion is the biggest thing. Just wear them and it will track whatever you do. Hey Mitzi, you wanna make me some more slime? You know, that's true. Mitzi probably can fabricate some for you, Beth. I gave my 2 cents of advice. Hopefully one day Litz will have trouble-free VR. That's true. Almost 3 hours. We are 30 seconds away, Drax. That's true. Congratulations. I don't know if I could cancel the official ones. Might as well wait for it to arrive, Beth. The nice thing about slimes is you could always have spares just in case. Because they're known to, yeah, not last that long after extensions. Have you ever played Stalker? Of course. Man, I'm tempted to have a guitar sometimes when I'm in front of a campfire. I'm a big fan of the Metro games, especially because of the story of Artyom. How long do you usually stream for? 2 hours and a half minimum, 3 hours on average. I don't really stream that long. Mitzi says, I'm still trying to figure out the drift on the ICMs I have, but I can very likely beat the official's delivery time. Oh, there you have it, Beth. Vesper continues on the topic. I enjoy my slimes, it's just that Tyrus destroyed the small business I bought from originally. I don't know if using slimes from another shop will work. It will, Vesp. It doesn't matter if you mix and match. So we can actually solve your slime things and get your foot rotation back. So yeah. Besides VR chat, what are some other games that you like to stream? I actually don't stream any other games, but I do play a lot of other games. Well, by a lot, I mean right now it's just Helldivers, and I recently dove into Tarkov with Beth, and we got riddled with bullets if not blown up by landmines. So yeah. Let's get the high ground. Landmine says no. Beth, I'm so surprised there's landmines in solid rock. That's what caught me off guard. It's like a solid piece of white rock. I gotta buy 4 more slimes at some point for feet rotation levels. Of course, more slimes the better. I had slimes. They were great. They sustained me for more than a year. Wow, more slimes, man. Let me go get 40. Like you have one on each finger joint. I remember making a video joking about having slimes for ear tracking. Whoa, hickety hiccups, man. I'm gonna get some good food, and then let's see what I can do in VR chat or maybe eat. I mean, play. Ah. I am tempted to play some Helldivers soon. Just miss shooting. A little late for my friends in VR chat. Let's see who's online. VRCX. Ba-bam. There's Weeb, there's D. Okay. Great. Whoa, super zoom. Let's check the funny VR chat category on Twitch. Who is streaming? Buddy, what? Impossible. VR chat. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, look at Slushy go. And of course, my thumbnail is my face being super zoomed in. No, I'm on the 3rd row. Look at all these lovely people. One of these streamers, they're making art throwing bugs. Mmm. Hold on. Oh my god, the moment I clicked the food channel, I see again Blue's toast sandwich. Ooh. Blue, I might just switch sides for this. You commit so many crimes for being on the light side, says Pierre. Pierre, I will. You can switch at the end of the month, don't worry. Actually, because of this travesty, I might just. Yes. Are you getting ready to raid that? Probably not. None of the people I know are online. I'm going for hour 4. No. Damn thing I know, Drax. But I'm gonna save some energy for Wednesday. So with that being said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, chat. Thanks for tuning in at this really fun British Buttertastic stream of ours. Sometimes talking about silly topics is best for decompressing. That being said, yep, my stream's over. Wow, it's gone. It's. Mhm. See, it's that's it. Where's my black screen? See, I'm gone. Bye, chat. Stream's over. Stream's closed. Curtains has been drawn, and yes, there's no more show. 100,000,000% no more. Mm-mm. Come on, I know you guys are discussing about me in the VC. Yeah, bye-bye. Why you sit here? Shoo. Do your things. You have more important activities lined up, don't you? Distracting blue bars. The distracting blue bars gave me away. What can I do? You know what's distracting and blue? The toast sandwich. A crime. 100% a crime. Definitely talk about you in BC. Yeah, yep, that's. Go hell dive, go play. No way. Oh my. Speak of the toasty bready devil. Oh, Blue, welcome to stream. We were just talking about you a little bit. A little bit. That your organic, ethically sourced butter and the way you prepare your fantastic meals. Fluffy and barefoot now. Let me ask you, says Fluffy, where do you get your butter? I'm gonna keep quiet. Wait, you were talking about me? Oh, yes, clearly not about you and being able to get girls and toast. Would never, please. That would be a hazard on itself. Oh, we wouldn't want to tank your mood or anything. Yeah, exactly that emote, Fluffy. No, a bread sandwich. It's just cream bread. You can't make either properly then, says Doran. Beth continues, the toast is supposed to be on the center. When I get myself a ham sandwich, I don't raw dog the ham around the bread. I should know. Hmm. So yeah, about the butter. The actually was genuinely curious about it. I think he likes it a bit salted. Do you have like salted butter from you, Blue? Back on France says I started seeing you on YouTube. YouTube of all places. That's the one I have least faith on. I have like what 1K subscribers. Um, I don't think anybody really watches me there, but that is my repository of past streams. All of my past streams are gonna be there. How has the stream been while I've been gone? Oh, great. Fantastic. Fairly salted and natural butter. You know, the more you scrape, the larger the ball, the roll forms. The more you can put on toast. Yeah, 100%. Did you miss me? Oh, not Blue, please. I'm sure your posse of friends always miss you. We always talk positively behind your back. Hop into VC, ask Dorian, ask Beth, ask Fluffy, ask Mitzi. Axel even. Still going, says Nordex. Oh, yeah, of course. I'm doing all this for you. I wouldn't want to leave you hanging content-wise. Ahem. Vesper says, normally I just rewatch the streams over at YouTube when I do schoolwork. Really? Oh wow, I didn't know that. I have 3 streams uploaded already. The past 3 VODs. I will post it over at the Discord later. Thanks for reminding me. And then this one will be uploaded like later tomorrow. I feel like this one is great to watch while doing schoolwork. I would have me giggling. You've been talking bad about me because of the bread, haven't you? Oh my god. No, of course not. Of course, it's not like you watch the VODs anyway, Blue, so yes. Yeah, only the bread. Oh my goodness. Is this? What's the same? A blush tab. It's a cat blushing with a knife. We gotta watch the VODs come on. I gotta wrap this stream up, you know. I gotta hold on. What percent is this? 9%. That's what counts. I gotta giggly. How do you say it? Giggly skiddly do. Like I gotta go. Now, as much as I wish to continue our plethora of jokes and poking fun, little jests towards Blue, I really do have to go. Alright? hmm. Skedaddly do. There we go. Thank you, Nord. Let me read chat for the last minute. WODs aren't as fun to watch. There's no interaction. That's true. More of like white noise. Skedaddle, yes. And the butter application to the bread. It was either YouTube or Instagram. Thank you, Falcon. Glad you're having fun in my little streams. Pardon the silliness that occurs every now and then. You going to bed, hungry, or both? That sounds like an invitation, wow. I am going to go eat. And then I'm going to go enjoy some VR chat with the remaining battery I have, which is 48%. I'm probably going to go bother Litz to go online because Vesper says that she wants to do some horror. Horror. Sounds fun. I remember the last time I did horror, Doran was there. Enjoy your toast sandwich. Oh my goodness. Scary. Are you hopping on Howler? I have around 3 hours left of battery. Oh god, no. I think you did great, Doran. Come on, let's hop on. Doesn't matter if you're in half body. Fine, not horror. How about we go visit some worlds I wanted to showcase some of those worlds. Come on, cool person. Surely you wouldn't decline, right? You can't see how I do, says Doran, because I get silent with horror. Horror, please stream it on the drive-thru or dine-in. Let's see if I can assemble a small group. Sure. Damn, I can't wait for Beth to get his big screen beyond, and then we're gonna do all of the fun little horror experiences together. You're kinda challenged. Challenged? Whatever do you mean by challenge? I'm not good with horror, please. You're the Demon King, Beth. How could you not be good with monsters and other creepy crawlies? Don't worry. As long as you're with friends, Beth, you're gonna do great. You act like a gentleman. I try my best. Thank you. Screwing up the fight is how I damaged my first one. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Promise. It means Bev hasn't experienced any of the worlds in VR chat yet. That's horror. That's nice. Awesome. I myself have not exhausted my list of recommended worlds. So it would be a fun experience to drag Bev along, including our friends too. I don't even know if my stuff is charged. Come on, Liz. I'm not in VR chat so often. Clearly, you can simply plug in and show up. Hold on, let's make it cinematic. There we go. Nice, uncluttered, fresh and clean. What do you mean not so often? Oh, please. I'm only in VR chat every other day. I never tried that either. Should probably do it some please. You ride a motorcycle, Fluffy, that goes over 300 kilometers per hour. What could scare you? I don't know, says Beth. These walls in my current room is stone. I think I'll be more damaged. I quite like standing Gib. A lot more expressive. Should I make effort next time to walk around more? I mean, I can. I've always simply assumed a more sitting posture. You didn't want to scare people. It's not nice. The IRS. Lauren says I can get dragged along for horror because peer pressure works. Peer pressure works. So Doran is the type to be, I was gonna say something about walls and being pinned and saying yes, but let's not go there. I will spare. Why do British folks scare you? Oh my goodness. Bribes work even better. What? Oh, nothing. It was simply me alluding to your skill in carpentry. See, putting pins on walls. Oh no, the Gib chatbot was taken over. See, that's what happens when I stand, chat. When I sit, I actually subdue my expressiveness. But when I roam around, this is actually how I converse with people. Well, it's more natural this way. We are compensating, says Blue. Vesper says, I mean, they colonize half the world just to not use any of the spices. Come on, how scary is that? With being nice and friendly, you can achieve more with interacting with other people than trying to scare them. Please. I'm not scaring them. I'm inviting them to a activity of fun and a test of camaraderie, courage, and wit. Because yes, there are puzzle worlds. Hello, Ignacia. I hope you're having a great day. You too. I hope you're having a great day. Bread. I feel bad. I feel bad for the tank. I don't think you're scary, but you do exude a certain level of coolness that is intimidating. Me? Intimidating? Please. I'm anything but. Aren't you hungry? Yes. Soon, in a bit. Don't worry. So instead of horror in VR chat, I just let Blue send me pics of food. It's very fair. 4 out of 5 horror. Would you look at the time? We're encroaching way past 3 hours. 3 hours and a half. I think Vesper is wanting me to go eat. Instead, we're gonna zoom in Vesper's face so you can adore how she looks. Focus at that nose.
Hi. Yes,
Oh.
I'm not muted, but hello. Yes, I have been wanting you to stop streaming because I know you're hungry.
In a bit. Don't worry, I've got it. Promise. 2 minutes
In a
there.
bit. Okay.
In a bit.
Okay.
In a bit. I got intrigued by the idea of having certain people joining along with a horror. Beth especially. I know Litz can't stomach horror too, but what if 2 people who are fairly challenged by horror work together? It makes it possible, right? Teamwork makes the dream work, or something along those lines. You said 2 minutes, so it means 30 minutes in gifts. Is that so? Screw teamwork. Horror for me is turning around to see 3 dragons and a hive lord. Ah, yes. You know, it's perfect. It's October. It's Halloween, ain't it right, Vesp? So it means we can actually do like horror theme stuff,
Yeah, true.
right? Wouldn't it be fun seeing our community members like not being within their usual environment and having them doing like no, I mean it's almost October. October is around the corner. Like when Beth gets
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
it's almost October. So then we can do lots of horror stuff together. And surely by October
Like, I'd
we'd have
especially love to do that for my birthday.
yes, Vesper's birthday is soon. Litza will probably have her full body fixed by then. Surely. Right.
Mhm.
Hello, Lane. What body? Your 2 sleeping base stations. Guess who's here? Long time no see. Constantly miss stream. Hi. This camera angle is something. Something good or something bad? I mean, look, if I just put it to this camera angle, it's rather boring, isn't it? Look, it's moving around. So we zoom in instead. Beth? I don't know any Beth. Yeah, please just don't put the camera above you. Beth. Long walks with Gab on the beach online. What's a special occasion? Not much. There's nothing special. It's just Look, Vesper sitting on a crashed plane. I don't think that's special. And
I
it's-
wasn't the one to bring it down. It's just somewhere to sit.
Yep, clearly not us causing it to set on fire and crash. This is giving the Little Prince vibes because it is. Well, Drax is right. I am overindulging yet again, so I have to go say goodbye to you. I can always come back on Wednesday. Or Friday. I don't know. Yes, with that being said, in all seriousness, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, chat. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you day after tomorrow, alright? If not, day after tomorrow, day after tomorrow. And so with that, our stream concludes. I'll see you. Well, before that, let's make Vesper say goodbye too. Come on, Vesper. I know you have fans.
All right. Bye, chat. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and make sure to sleep plenty. Catch you later.
See you later. Catch you later. Day after tomorrow.